If you're like me, you thoroughly enjoyed the State of Union address by President Trump and all the achievements, all the accomplishments. But this particular group of women here in the background, as you can see, those are the freshman Congresswomen. And they're all wearing white, and some of you can do the same research I did in terms of what they were trying to communicate by wearing white. I'm going to play that clip for you, and I'll play another clip for you regarding someone's take on all of this. So check this out.
Our economic resurgence continues at a rapid pace. No one has benefited more from our thriving economy than women, who have filled 58% of the newly created jobs last year.
Check this out. They're finally all standing up. I don't know if you can see. I call her an occasional cortex. She's in the foreground right here. She has to check with all her peers. Oh, did he say something we should be standing up for? Or I know we're supposed to all sit down and have our arms crossed and have our sourpuss faces on. But they finally just couldn't take it anymore. But watch what happens next. And you probably saw this, but I just wanted to revisit this.
You weren't supposed to do that. Thank you very much.
That is so. I didn't realize this, but that was actually a great catch by our president. He knew that they weren't going to be supportive of anything he was going to say, regardless. But he's kind of setting them up, and I'll have the next video explain that. And I just couldn't put my finger on it, but now I was able to piece some of these things together. Check this out.
Thank you very much. All Americans can be proud that we have more women in the workforce than ever before. Don't sit yet. You're going to like this. And exactly 1 century after Congress passed the constitutional amendment.
Okay, now I didn't catch this when I was watching this, but my wife had to point it out. Didn't realize that Nancy Pelosi was also dressed like all of them. So, chances are she's probably the one who came up with the idea. Hey, let's all wear white, solidarity, blah, 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 male supremacy, white privilege, and, women have suffered, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, check out what he's going to say here. He's setting it all up.
Giving women the right to vote. We also have more women serving in Congress than at any time before.
Everybody high-fiving each other as if they worked so hard and they suffered so much. Alright, hang on. I want to pull up another video. And this lady, I'll let her... She calls herself Patriot Nurse. So, hang on a second. I'll pull that video up for you. Okay, so here is this nurse. Patriot. She calls herself the Patriot Nurse. And I may post the links to these video clips, but anyway, check out how she just kind of puts all of this together.
Women had fought so hard for their rights, and they weren't going to back down on these hard-fought rights that they were. Nobody's trying to take your right to vote. So what rights are you speaking of, Ms. Frankel? What rights are you speaking of? Oh, that's right. You want the right to murder children now. So let me get this straight. You only care about the rights of women so long as you can hear their screams. When they're being dismembered or having saline injected into their little skin, you don't care so much about that. You only care as long as they can vote for you 3 or 4 times. And I think that President Trump actually did very, very well in exploiting their hypocrisy on this. Because on one hand, you have the celebration, the baboon, impish-like behavior of these women who are doing the whole raise the roof thing. I'm like, are you at Chuck E. Cheese? Or are you in Congress right now? But you're expecting women who are classless and who are base and who ultimately act like demonic entities to have some sort of veneer of humanity and class. Yeah, we shouldn't even bother with that. But I think that it was effectively highlighted, their own hypocrisy, when you juxtapose their relative glee about, oh, yay, women are in Congress, women are in Congress, women are in Congress, with, oh, that's right, you called us on our infanticide bill. You called us on our behavior in New York and in Virginia. Yeah, it was pretty clear. And I think President Trump actually very well exploited their own hypocrisy in this. So let's get an update here as to what these women are. You probably saw my little picture there at the front with Nancy Pelosi juxtaposed with Kerry. The first thing that I thought when I saw these women dressed in white was, you freaking hypocrites. Like, you should be wearing red with the blood of the infants that you're advocating slaughtering in the name of women's rights. It's lunacy. But more than lunacy, I mean, lunacy would kind of connotate that the person was just crazy, but they didn't have any knowledge or forethought or malice. Oh, no. These women know full and well what they're advocating, and they are so twisted and warped and sick that they would rather a woman be able to murder an infant than to recognize the right of that infant girl, by the way. They would much rather have murder be cloaked as a right than recognize human decency and human morality. But that's the problem, see.
Okay, you guys can watch the rest of it. But she goes on to say in this video, and I thought it was very perceptive on her part, because I just couldn't put my finger on it. As much of a great truth-telling speech that was, in terms of, you know, all the progress and all the achievements and exposing the corruption. There was something still that wasn't. I just had this sense like, okay, what's next? Anyway, she goes on to say that this was just kind of like a feel-good, temporary thing, and within a couple of weeks, the left is going to be at it again. And I gotta believe they're probably going to come back with even more craziness, because they are just off the hook and completely off the rails. So, be in prayer, and not just for our nation, but what is, you know, it's those things that keep us up at night sometimes. Not so much what we're passionate about, but what keeps us up at night. If you, like so many of us, who are starting to wake up, and stay awake for that matter, and wondering, how can we continue to let this happen? We can't. And you're in prayer about that, I would just encourage you to keep seeking the Lord in that. And I would welcome your comments. Please like, share, comment below. If you think this lady is way off in terms of how she translated or interprets the ladies, the freshman congresswomen, if you think she's way off and totally misreading it, say why. I'd love to hear that. All right, only be strong and courageous in speaking the truth. Talk to you later.